So what we're going to do is a product shot. It's actually a product shot that I'm shooting for my client, Bay Photo. It'll appear on their website. And we're going to do light painting with just this small little light. And it's a microscope lamp, actually. It was built during the 30s. I bought this 40 years ago. But it was quite old when I got it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the timer for the camera, and then I'm going to run over and turn off the lights, and then I'm going to come and get this light where I've left it on the ground, and I'm going to start light painting. I'm going to leave a little light on in the background, which I normally wouldn't do, but it'll allow you to see a little better my movements and how I'm doing this. Okay, so let's get started. First step, turn out the lights. And I'm going to turn on my light right here, and I'm going to start the camera timer. Okay, now our shutter is open, and we're going to light paint in the areas that we want light to exist, as if there was a spotlight on all these little areas. Now get under the camera a little bit and complete the cycle of where this light appears. I pretty much got that all done. Now I'm just going to paint around the product a little bit and maybe get some sweeps from up high. And we've got an image, and it's pretty good. It's a very good image, actually. I think it's totally usable. So today I'm in the studio workshop of Jeff Arnett. He's a stone and bronze sculptor, and he's asked me to shoot some of his newest items. And the last time I was here was like
2 years ago.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago. And so he's got some new stuff. He's really talented. So we're just going to be shooting this on a black background, and because it's a white, basically white sculpture, so we're going to have to deal with some of the intricacies of getting white to photograph and not having it burn up. So I have lights on both sides, and you can already see that we're creating a shape right here, but we're not seeing detail right there, and that's important. And so I can paint that detail in this way.
Wow.
So do I want the detail to look like that? Do I want it to look like that? Do I want this shadow to be here? Do I want it mostly 45 degrees above is one good thing. And do I want transparency? So I'm going to do all of that with a mobile light. And once I get the camera locked down so I get the composition that I want, I have to be very careful not to bump the camera, because I'm going to produce a suite of photographs, and not every one of them is going to have the transparency, the highlights, and all of that.
Right.
So then I have to marry those in Photoshop in different layers by taking one section of one exposure and then putting it on top of another. And this means that if I have 7 layers, it's the same thing as doing 7 lighting setups, and I can adjust the transparency. I have so much more control now by doing this technique in Photoshop. So that's the shtick. So you can see how important it is to learn the light painting technique, especially if you're going to combine it with Photoshop. Here's a shot that I took in a recording studio. A friend of mine wanted to show off this Steinway that he had rebuilt, and I couldn't really light it in a way that hid the lights. I wanted to have lights on the keyboard itself. I wanted to have the inside of the piano. I wanted to have a spot of light on the ground. And so I did several different layers with the lights in the shot, and then took a shot with no lights at all in there. And then again, through the layering in Photoshop, I was able to create lights coming from various different directions, but not show them at all. And this is a real common technique for me, especially in architecture. You can see in this very small bathroom, they had a fancy cabinet installed, and I could only light it with a softbox on the floor, but I didn't want that in the shot. So I took other shots without that softbox, put them on a layer, and erased parts of the image to show the glossy surface of that cabinet. It's also very good for interiors. Here's an office that I was photographing, and the woman in the foreground is just not really well lit, and I put a light up there, and it's really right in front of the guy on the left, but I've erased the light, but I've left the light on her, but I've erased the fixture. Here's another shot for a realtor, and you can see I've added some things in here. I put a fire in the fireplace, put a image on the TV, but the main thing was that the bed was really, really flat, and so I put a softbox up there and then removed it with the layering technique. So here it is without it, and here it is with it. So these are techniques that are complicated, but once you understand light painting, they become very easy, and a shot that would normally take a half an hour or maybe an hour to light, I can accomplish with a couple of handheld lights in maybe 15 minutes, and then another 15 minutes in Photoshop. So I'm just laying the groundwork so you'll understand the benefits of light painting.